Please record that.
Sure, sure. So now it's loud and clear, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So our first problem is like length of the longest Fibonacci subsequence. So the definition they have given, it should have at least one element, and Fibonacci, if A and ABC and ABC is given, C should be a sum of A plus B, and they have given a strictly increasing array of positive integers which would form a sequence. We need to find the length of longest Fibonacci like sequence of A, and here they have given the definition of subsequence, like without changing the order you can delete the elements, that would be one of the subsequence. And in example one you can see the largest one is this for this array, and for this you have 3, the largest one, and constraints is like should be greater than 3 and less than 1. Yeah, so like how do you approach in this case?
I tried a brute force approach, which is giving me clearly. Yeah, but what I did was for every element, try to pair up with all the elements on the right side and recursively call to find the maximum fit sequence you can get.
So can you explain? Come again? Can you come again?
Yeah.
Maybe actually draw it on a drawing board,
Yeah.
whiteboard. Yeah.
Sorry.
Maybe you can actually draw on a whiteboard.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You can see the whiteboard, right? Like the whiteboard.
Yes. Yes.
So, like, let's see this example.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was, first I take this element. First I take this element. Like I take two loops. One for the first element in the Fibonacci series, and the second the loop for the second element of the Fibonacci series, which goes on like for one it goes to 2, 3, 4 like that. So
Okay.
once first I took 1, 2 as my first two elements of the Fibonacci series. Then I call a recursive function which would try to take every element after that. First I pass 1 and 2. So and I also pass the index in which I'm calling the recursive call. So I'm calling starting from index 2, which is 3. So I'll check the condition whether this can be a part of the Fibonacci sequence, which is yes. So I add it to it. So I maintain a counter which I increment. For now it is 3. Then I move on to next element and see if it can add up to the sequence. But we couldn't add up because 2 plus 3 is 5, but it is 4. So I just pass on without increasing the counter. So I will go to next element, which is 5. That can be added to the sequence. So I increase the counter to 4. Then I move on like that. For 6 it won't be added. For 7 it won't be added. For 8 you can add that. So for which the counter will be 5. So that's where I will return. Then I will try for Fibonacci for the sequence. This 1 as the first element and this 3 as the second element. And I do the same thing. See if it 4 works, 5 works, 6 works like that. So for 1 I will do that, and for starting with 2 and 3 like that. That works.
Okay. Yeah.
That was giving me TLA, I know, but I just tried, but because I didn't have any other solution.
Yeah. No, that's good actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I did the same, and I implemented the DP as well, but I was still hitting the DLE on this one.
Okay. you want to say that?
But the brute force with this approach, what he discussed, either you do iterative or the recursive way, but that also is fine. It doesn't hit on TLE, right?
Mm,
That is what I think. Maybe anyone implemented that. Maybe let's go through how Dileep is actually implemented.
Yeah,
So,
I think it will hit now. So the maximum length of the array could be 10 to the power 3, and we are taking like at least n cube complexity. So I think it gives really.
okay.
So actually, like I have done this using brute force. So what I noticed was I was using first ordered set. So using ordered set, it gave
okay.
me TLE, but when I just mentioned unordered set, it was accepted. So then I studied like ordered set is based on binary search tree, and its complexity is like log n to like, and for the unordered set it is O of 1. So maybe that's the reason, like that set complexity also is matters here.
Right,
Like
right.
I'm not sure, but that is only the difference just I made in my code and it worked.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yep.
You want to share code, something
Yeah, actually,
like that,
yeah.
right?
Dileep or so someone was going to.
So, or anyone.
You want to see my code or like?
Yeah, first you go. You actually said, right? Maybe then we can look
Huh.
at Sonal's code. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I'll say that. Uh, so so this is a loop which I take a max counter. Um, then these are the two loops. One start at the first element and the second one start index after that. And that will call a recursive function that will try to find the maximum Fibonacci length we can calculate. So this is a Fibonacci function, sorry, recursive function that takes index. Index is like at which index I'm presently calling the recursive call on the array, and previous two elements and a count up to that. So so count is a number of elements in that sequence, like 1, 3, 5. So we have 3 elements. 8 is 4 elements, like that. So first I'll recursively call until my index is up to the length of the array. Then I'll check if the condition, if the present index element can be added into the sequence. So we have previous two elements. If the present element is equal to the sum of both the elements, then I will call the next index with incrementing the counter. If it doesn't work, then I will call the next index without incrementing the counter. So so that will return me the count, and I'm taking the max count of all those things and returning that. This condition is because like if the count is 2, which I'm trying to, if there's only 2 elements, that means we don't have a sequence, so I'm returning 0.
But so you didn't use memoization. No, you are doing like this one, 2-pointer approach kind of. Not exactly.
No, he's using recursive, right?
Yeah, like
No, it's a
So
recursive
top-down
one.
approach.
yeah. So maybe I can add a memoization for this, like so this is the first solution I thought, but give me TLE, then I didn't try the next.
Okay, but did you hit a TLE for this one?
Yeah, it hit TLE from.
Oh yeah. So if you do memoization, it might actually work. I think so.
No, I tried memoization. Even that was hitting TLE.
You might be running out of stack in that case because it uses
Yeah, maybe.
You're doing a memoization on the index or like the element of some.
The 3 things, right? The previous one, previous two, and index are the 3 changing things, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
memorization will be on those 3.
Okay.
Yeah, but then convert this to an iterative way, and I think the way Sonal was saying, can use a proper data
Amount of-
structure. Yeah.
Yeah, we can use a
So
set.
then, yeah, that might be slightly better.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Dilip, thanks for sharing this. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
This one, but
One
looks more
question.
than old n cube complexity. Previous one.
The one which was the recursive way.
Yeah, because
Yeah, it will be n cube almost, right? Or maybe more than that.
I think it's n cube because we are even a recursive call reaches until n for each element of the loop, right? Like for every this part is n square, right?
Okay.
Then we are calling this recursive call, which goes max up to the length of the element, that to once. We are not moving back or forth like that. We are moving one way to the length of the other end of the array. So that could go to n. So I think it's n cube.
Actually, if you see on line 9 and line 11, so you might end up calling, only once,
That
right?
else if and else, right? It can go to either this thing or this thing. So we are not going to both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Either of yeah.
So,
Yeah, so n cube, yeah, that is true.
huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she wants to
Sonal.
share. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, do you want to share it, Sonal?
Yeah, like I just studied from the lead code some like that article only, and then I tried brute force only, and like I can just like share the code.
Okay.
Sure.
Are you like able to see?
Yeah.
Okay. So like what I did is the same thing. Loops are the same. Like for first it will go for 1 and 3, then 1 and 4. Sorry, 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 and 4. Like this will go on this way. Then 2 and 3, 2 and 4, 2 and 5. These both loops are. Oh, sorry. So these both loops are doing the same thing. Then what I did is I stored like it is a of j, so I store like then this will be 2, and a of I plus a of j, that will be my 3. Y becomes 3, and the minimum length will be 2 at least. And now I've used the set. I've assigned initialize the set with the array already given, and using this, then what I did is like I calculated y, like it will be 1 plus 2, that is 3, and I'm finding it in the set. If I find 3, then what I do is I just add 2 plus 3, that is 5. So z becomes 5, and I assign the values like x will be now uh,
Yeah, the next
x will
one.
be
Right?
now wait,
The
x will
previous
be
one
now
and Y will be the next.
Y was, so x will be now 3 and y will be now 5, next one, which we have calculated this z. And I initialized answer with the 0. If you don't initialize this, it will take the garbage value, so you need to like initialize answer also here. And just calculated max plus the length, because you have found that element, the next element here. So I just added that and took the max of that. So this while loop is also working. So like it will be like 1 plus 2, 3. So like your answer will turn into 3. Then it will go 2 plus 3, it will find 5. Yes, so it found 5 also in this loop. And then your answer becomes 4. Then 3 plus 5 is 8. So it finds 8 also in the set. So your answer becomes 5 by like max of this and adding this, and like then after that again the loop like runs for 1 and 3. So 1 and 3 4, that is now your length becomes 3 in that case. And then 4 plus 3 is 7, your length becomes 4, and it's because 7 it is found now. 4 plus 7 is 11. It can't find that 11 thing in the set. So basically your answer remains already the pre-calculated one, 5. So this happens using this loop. So this loop is like, I think, n square, and the while loop is running inside this. So in the like article, it was written log m, and where this m is the maximum element in the array. So that thing I couldn't understand regarding the complexity. But then you remove this set unordered, and this, if I do this and submit, so it was giving me TLE, but when I use unordered set, so it gave me it was accepted.
Okay, yeah.
So,
That's
So
good
I'm not
actually.
a bit unclear regarding the space complexity will be surely log n, because we are using a set extra space. But I'm not sure like why it is n square log m is the complexity. Log m is because of the while loop. And the ordered set, I just checked. So ordered set has the complexity, it uses binary search tree, and it is the time it takes is log n to look up or traversal, and whereas unordered set takes like O1 of the time. So maybe that may be the reason, because in TLE also it was giving like all the test cases are passed, but you need to optimize something, it was giving in the details page.
Yeah.
So this while loop is something like a prefix sum, right?
yeah, so here my take is that why do we need the SAT at all? SAT or map at all?
Yeah, we need a set because whenever you add two values, right? So it is very quick way of finding something which is present in the set or not.
Yeah.
So, so considering the input that it always is mentioned that this is an increasing sequence, so why can't we do the binary search in the while loop?
Yeah, you can do a binary search. That is one way of doing it.
I think
But
that's
if
where
you
the TLE,
use
right?
a
The
set-
ordered set was hitting the TLE, right?
Yeah,
If
so
you, yeah.
it was almost like a binary search, right? If it's
Yeah.
an order set.
But that include the time of building the map.
But
So that
searching
may be
also,
one
right?
of the reason for the TLE.
No, searching also like it takes log of n.
Searching will take log of n, but including that building the, as she mentioned that she actually used the SAT instead of unordered SAT. So the total time will include that the time to build that SAT also, right?
Yeah,
That
that
will
is
be
fine.
negligible when compared to the search, I feel.
Yeah.
So I think like we are using this loop, which is like n square, and this searching takes log n time, log m time, where m is like the maximum element in the array. And this unordered set, which I like looked, is it is taking just O1 time to like look up and for the traversal, though it is taking extra space, which is log
No,
n.
but that the building that SAT
Here
will
only,
also
like
take some time, right?
here itself, right? So I think that unordered set, I'm like
No,
I'm
so
just
what I'm
okay.
saying that building that SAT will take also some time. So when you use the SAT only instead of unordered SAT, so building that SAT will take n log n time.
Yeah, that is fine, right? But what you say makes sense. Okay, but if you do it with unordered set, the building is not going to take n log n, correct?
Yeah, it is taking
Building will take O of n, right?
It will take O of n, yeah. But you are
but the
adding when you
maximum will only calculate this loop complexity, right, which is already n square log m, and which is higher than the building of the set only.
No, that we are talking in terms of big O of n, but in terms of TLE, so that is not based on the big O of n. That is based on that how much time this overall this function is going to take.
Yeah, that is
Okay.
fine. See, if you look at the TLE, okay, if you see their solution also, they said they have changed something and the time limits have been decreased, right? So if
Yeah,
this is
like
cancelled,
I'll just show like submitting. Okay, let me just
no,
put
that's
it
fine.
sat
But yeah, you
and
can go
it
ahead.
is
But see,
it is
Praveen, even if you
giving
still submit this, it's being accepted, not hitting a TLE.
No,
here it is
Santosh,
this and
Santosh,
I just put that unordered and
yeah,
it is
my
getting
my point here is that instead of if we don't use SAT at all and just do the binary search, so in that case we are not actually taking that using that extra time to build that SAT.
Okay, see, the thing is, yeah, you can do it the other way also, but actually she showed it the way she thought it might be.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfectly
This is one
fine.
approach. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious to know that. I mean, why the TLE was with the with that binary search.
With Dilip's code, right? You are saying why it was the TLE with Dilip's code. The one earlier, what he was showing, the recursive way.
Dilip was not using the binary search.
Dilip was not using binary search. So
Yeah.
no one has shown anyone approach who's a binary search yet. So
No,
we just came up with the first, second one approach.
Here in Sonal code, when she used the SAT, so that is actually the binary search, right?
Okay, yeah. So it is still hitting there. So it might be, yeah, what you say, building up a set also is time consuming in this case. So it's not actually setting. Yeah, it
I
might be
think
possible.
like
Yeah.
set is if I use only set here, I think that is acting as maybe binary search only because that is ordered set. If I by default you use set,
Yeah.
so that is making it TLE. But when you're using it in unordered way, it is not giving TLE.
Yeah.
That is strange. But if you look at the submission also, right? So it is giving me like all the cases are passed. So I was just checking the details.
Yeah. So what Praveen is trying to say is even if you have been accepted, like it's almost 40 to 50%, you are good, right? So it is still on the border case of being accepted.
It is giving that.
Yeah.
So that is something. It was strange. Like
no, that's fine. Yeah. So that's the way
Because
it is. So
actually, what I know that is that set uses red black tree, red black balance tree. So actually, every time searching a bit will might pass it, might get into TLE bit, but another set uses the internal hashing function. So hashing makes it easy to find.
one time, yeah.
Yeah. So from interview point of view, so as in question, it's clearly mentioned that the data is in increasing order. So which means that, I mean, they expect that you should use the binary search.
Yeah, that is fine. But if this is a brute force approach, yeah, that is the first approach. It is being accepted, at least in our discussion.
I have used one DP approach. Like
yeah, but actually before going to the DP approach, Ankur, let us see if someone has a binary search approach, because Praveen says make sense also, right? Because if we have something, we have that property of the array which is strictly increasing. So why not use a binary search?
Okay.
Yeah. So anyone has a binary search approach? Or even if you have looked somewhere else, it's not that you have to have something, what you implemented. Yeah, Praveen, actually that is a problem because, if you look at the solution also and the discussion forum, no one is talking about binary search. They are either talking about the DP or this brute force.
Okay.
So, but brute force is getting accepted because it looks, easy to understand, and it's more intuitive.
It's
then
getting
even the
accepted?
DP. Yeah, it's getting accepted. Yeah.
It's strange. I mean, that Sonal approach with the tree was not accepted and the brute force was accepted.
Yeah, Dilip's one was not accepted, but here, yeah.
Yes,
so earlier I started with the Dilip's way, and then also I was getting problems. So I just left. I said, okay, let me do it the way they are showing in this solution. So that made it slightly better.
There is one with binary search. It's in C++.
Oh, you have? Okay. Yeah, you can share it.
I haven't gone. I just saw just now. You told me.
Okay.
So if you want, I can just share it.
Okay, go ahead.
This one. So what they are saying is like since the array is increasing, so they are using this binary search in order to. This should be.
Okay. So the finder function is actually doing the magic.
Getting the two unique pairs. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
There is
it's doing the BS. They have the BS function here.
Mm-hmm.
That uses DP there, DP 1000
yeah,
array.
DP, yeah.
Okay, so the BS is a binary search, and then if you go to the finder, it is actually using a. It has to use DP somewhere, right? Because at least the memo is.
No, it has used DP.
Yeah.
There it has used.
Yeah.
It has used recursively, and then finding, and then doing the binary search if it not finding the DP table.
Yeah. So you have to use a combination of DP and binary search.
Binary search.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, And this DP is a top-down approach, and they have used the DP as a memoization. Yeah.
Memoization uses.
Yeah. So I think this is almost like what Dilip implemented, right? To some extent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this.
But he was not using that memoization part, and
somewhat he has somewhat optimized that, which is by using memoization.
Good. It's good that you brought something, you know. Yep. So let at least go with the way what Ankur is saying. Ankur, you have a DP solution, right?
Yes, I have DP solution.
You want to share it?
Yes, like what is doing that first I'm using a hash map, and it is matching with the indices that that position a of I and comma I. Then I took one DP array of size, initialized with this 0. Then what I did that created for all the size, and from I to up to 0 I'm going. So as by default we know that a single number, if I equal to k, then it is a single number. Then it will be for sure it will be a Fibonacci sequence, because single number can be in Fibonacci sequence. So then I will continue. Else because we can every two number can be also in Fibonacci sequence, because two numbers make the third number, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Therefore, our DPIK we can make it equal to 2, right? And then what I did, I took the difference, that ith index and kth index, and if I find in the hash map that n, it means that these three are forming the Fibonacci. These three are forming the Fibonacci sequence of length 3, right? Then what I did, I got the index of that number, and if that it is less than the k, so it means that this number is coming between I and k, and I have found some sequence such that of length 3 such that a of I plus a of REV reverse equal to a of k. It means that I have found the subsequence of Fibonacci sequence. Then what I did, that then at that point, since we have to find the maximum length, so what I did, the maximum of DPIK current, and then 1 plus because we have found the one more Fibonacci sequence. Therefore, I did 1 plus. Then currently took the one variable longest and updating it with the time to time to get the maximum count of the length. If it is less than 3, then it is that we didn't have any Fibonacci sequence, and if it is greater than 3, then we have the Fibonacci sequence.
It is bottom up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's saying a DP. Yeah, bottom up approach. But then why are you, if you go to the for loop, the two for loops, yeah, and the line 19, right?
Mhm.
So why are you starting from the back
Because
side?
I'm considering that at k, I am considering the kth index. I'm considering the at the last index of my Fibonacci sequence. I'm considering that like that in between. Suppose if what I am doing here is that uh, that I and first and I'm finding a REV index and then comes a K. So since I have to find the indices because I took K as a reference last index for Fibonacci, and then I'm finding these two indices to get the Fibonacci sequence of length 3. If I found that, then I'm updating the ADP array, TP2D array.
So you're always going from behind, and you are
Yes,
taking
yes.
the first index, the 0th index, and you are starting from n-1 index. Something like that, right?
No, from I, current
Yeah,
I up to 0.
whatever it, yeah. See yeah, if I is equal to n-1, if I was at the last row, then you would start from the n-1
Yes,
position,
yes,
and the first reference would be the 0th reference.
yes, yes, yes.
But how can that happen? Because if you have a last one which is n-1, then how can you find the Fibonacci for? Because I've always seen Fibonacci starting from the beginning, right? Not from the reverse way. So
No,
yeah.
that what it is doing is that I took the I as the first the I as the first number in the Fibonacci sequence, and K as the last, and I'm finding them in some middle where some IV index that will be satisfying my Fibonacci condition. Here I'm checking that condition. Here. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, no, this might be working. I'm not saying that, but for me, I'm not able to understand because usually you always have a sequence, right? It has to be one after another, but you are actually starting from two
No,
extreme
I can
conditions.
show here. I can show. Like it is following the sequence only. Like here I'm checking. Like if the reverse is less than K, then it is this comes in sequence. Like suppose for some example I took suppose it is 111 and 12 is the Fibonacci sequence. So what it will do, suppose it is at 12, suppose I it as 12. Suppose I it as 12, then I will start from the I, and then I will take the difference, the 12 minus 11, that will be n.
Okay.
Then I will find in the hash map if it contains or not. If it contains, then I will get the index of that particular number.
Okay. So I got that point. But instead of that, why don't you take example 1 where you have output as 5? So if you take like 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, right? So if you take 8 and 1, the answer here, if you look at the year, the answer, right? In the
8 and 1.
explanations, yeah. So if you start with 8 and 1, then how do you arrive for 5? That I really didn't understand from this one. You got my point now, right? So if you pick up, yeah. See,
okay, like you're saying for 8 and 1.
Yeah, because if you start with 8 and 1, then how do you go for 5? Because that is not the one actually you will be getting, right? Because you need, for 8 and 5, you need 3 first. Correct?
Yes, yes.
And this is also not doing a recursive call, so I didn't understand it.
Okay, wait, I'm thinking. Suppose what I am doing is that
I think no. I think that is right. What is happening? You are going from the first row.
Yes,
so
first
it is going to do incremental things. So first it will do 1, 2, 3, and then it will do 1, 2, 3, 5.
Not it will consider from back
yeah,
side.
I got it. I'm sorry. I got it. That's correct now.
Yeah. Because it is going from starting, not from back side.
Right. Yeah.
So that condition will not come.
Yeah, it won't come. Yeah.
And that for the subsequence, if it is making a not the valid subsequence, then that I'm checking here. If it is less than K, then only I'm updating the DP table.
Yeah. So because every row it is going to increment your Fibonacci sequence by 1 only every time. So
every time.
More than 2. If it is more than 2, then this won't work because that is the way it is designed. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Thank you. This is a good one.
It is clear to everyone? I hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, someone posted in the chat about Fibonacci in the.
Solution, I think. Binary.
It was the same thing. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
So this is the bottom up that I've used. So I can explain it. Should I use the table, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. No. So like we have, I think it's the same thing what he has explained simply. Like, so you have up to 8 digits. So these are the indices that I'm taking. 2, 3, you'll have 4, 5, and this is 6. Up to this is 7. I'm keeping only up to 5. I'm just canceling this because it will be too much. So we know by default, like two numbers will always be a sequence, right? Fibonacci sequence. Every 2 number, like 1, 2, 1, 3 will be a Fibonacci because we don't have any third number, so we don't need to check anything for that. So just I'm filling all of them with this. So everything will be your 2. At least you can have a length of 2 for all those Fibonacci. Again, this will be a 1 to 2 will be 1 Fibonacci. This is also Fibonacci. This two and valid ones because you can't go from 1 to 2, right? So
yeah, we lost you in between. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Am I
no
audible?
problem. Now you're audible. Yeah. So you are saying that the minimum 2 to 2 you are actually assigning for each and every value, right?
Exactly.
Because
Yeah.
that is at least you're going. It is going to satisfy. But
yeah, definitely. Every 2 number will be every.
yeah, but 2 is not a Fibonacci sequence at all, right? We have to have at least 3.
Yeah, but 1. Yeah, that's why I'm putting 2 there.
Okay.
Like at least length of 2 I have seen.
So
because
you are just
third.
initializing it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if I get third element, then I'll check the condition in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And just I'm creating one hash map, which will be like keeping your index 1 is at 0, then 2 at 1, 3 at 2, and then 4 at 3. You can have 5 at 4. And so you have array like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when you go from 0 to 0, so each cell what is denotes that like 0 to 1, that is index 0 and index 1. You have seen till now a Fibonacci sequence of length 2, 1, 2. So this is what 2 is indicating us. Now we'll sum these 2, 3, and we'll check if it exists in our hash map. So if it exists in our hash map, then 1, 2, 3 is one of the possible Fibonacci sequence that we have seen till now.
Okay.
And so corresponding to 2, 3. So 2, 3, your index is 1, 2. So 1 and 2, you just update this value by 1. That is the previous value you take and you just update it by 1. Now similarly, you can go for the next, like 2, 3 if you check. So 2 plus 3 is what? 5, and 5 is present inside your this hash map. So again, you can go to, so 2, 3, this is 5. And 3 is at 2 and 5 is at 4. So at 2, 2, 4, you can increase the index by 3 by taking the previous. So same way if you do, you'll get like like this. If you do, you'll get the next time. Let's say if you are at 3 or if you are at 4, 3 plus 4, 7, 7 you won't find in your hash map. So that is not one of the. But if we have 7, then you can get that 7 and just check the last 2 indices and then update the value. Right.
Yeah. So when you said you updated for the row 1, you updated the 3. So you just added 1 and 2, which were our first 2 elements, and then you found 3. And then you are actually updating the index of column 2 and row 1, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So okay, but how does that come to be 3?
Three is
Because the
like
column is
previous
3.
previous index I'm taking. I mean, earlier I saw 1 and 2 as one of the Fibonacci index. I mean, Fibonacci series, right? So this is my previous value. Now when I
0 and
added
1.
1 to 2, I got 3, and 3 I saw in the hash map. It's present. That
Okay.
means last two index of 2 and 2 is at index 1 and 3 is at index 2. So 1, 2. Here I'll update the value whatever I've seen at this place. So 2 plus 1 is 3. Next time if I see here any value, then 3 plus 1, 4, and so on.
Okay, so you are also going one row at a time. And so
Time
whenever you
exactly.
find some Fibonacci sequence for that row, you just update that value. And whenever you update, you just move to the next row, right?
Yeah, so first I'll consider all 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, I'll go to 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4 and update.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that makes sense.
That's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
this is the hash map that I've created. A value will, along with the value, you'll have the index, and this is the DP. I'm filling entire DP with 2, 2, 2. Because that those two will be the invalid ones below diagonal. Only above the diagonal will be considered. Because below diagonal will be like in a reverse way, 1 to 6. So which is you can't go from 6 to 1. You can go only in forward direction.
Okay.
And just iterating from end will be from 0 to the length of array, and to every end start will go from 0 to end. Like 0 to 3 you are going, then 0 to 1, 0 to 2, 0 to 3, all those things. And just checking the difference. If it is present in your what you say index, that hash map, and your this value is less than your a of start, then just you take the previous value and update it by 1, and at last just get the maximum in that DP array, because the maximum value gets returned.
Okay. So on your line 9, that is going to be your rows of that DP array, right?
Yeah, traversing the matrix, 2D matrix.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
1D matrix from 0 to length, and then every time at each step I'm checking whether it could be the possible sequence or not.
okay. So you are starting from a row, 0th row, and then actually you are going through each and every column, which starts from 0 to 0. First, maybe only one index, and then the second row, the column will be 2 elements at least, right?
Yeah.
And then it's going to keep on increasing.
So until the entire length of the array is traversed.
Okay.
I want to discuss. I want to ask one thing. Like that I used first time I used one approach. Like I found the maximum element in the given array, and then what I did is that I constructed up to that number Fibonacci sequence. And if I apply to the given list the LCS approach, DP LCS thing, then it should not work. Longest one subsequence.
Yeah, got it.
But that will be slightly different, right?
Yeah, I think it should.
Yeah, it might be to some extent in the same family of the problem statements, problem solutions. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know how to say that about it, because usually LCS you just keep on comparing 2 characters at a time, right? Here you have to calculate for the sequence number also, and which has to be perfect. You have to find it from an index. It is slightly similar, but yeah, it has one more condition for this case.
Like I found initially the maximum element in the given array, and then up to that number, that like if I can show that that approach.
Okay. Yeah, let's be quick in this because we are spending more time on this first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like suppose I found the maximum element in the given array, and then push the initial the sequence of the Fibonacci, that is 1, 1, and 1.
Okay.
Then I constructed the Fibonacci sequence.
Okay.
Yeah, previous plus.
Then I took one DP array that n plus 1, m plus 1. That first indicates the array, the given array size, and the second indicates the Fibonacci size.
Okay.
And since every single number can be in Fibonacci, then therefore what I did that at zeroth I equal that it should be equal to 1.
Hmm.
And if no elements are there, suppose for that also not there, and then because that that standard format of LCS problem that dp00 that will be equal to 0 because no elements are considered there.
Hmm.
Then for first column I made it all 0. Then I applied the standard DP that LCS approach, but I didn't understand that why it is failing. That anyone can say that because why it is not correct approach.
Okay, no problem. So why don't you put this in our Discord channel? Then we can actually try to find out, more.
Okay.
Because let's move on to the next one because we are already
Okay.
almost an hour in this also, right?
Okay.
Please, yeah.
So let's move to the next. So we are given random pick index. An array of integer is given with possible duplicates, and we need to randomly output the index of given target number. You can assume that the given target will exist in your array, and array size can be very large, and solution that uses too much extra space will not pass the judge. Okay. So this is your nums array, and so if you pick 3, you can return this index, this, or this index, and each of the picking the index is equally probable, whichever you pick. And pick of 1 will return 0 because it has 0. Since in the array only this is equal to 1, so solution dot pick. Yeah. So how do you approach here?
First, the approach that comes to mind that because a target is given. So what I did is that push the elements of that push the index or indices of that target in the array indices array, and then I called the rand function, and then return any one of the indices from that index array that also passed also.
Okay, so you're trying to say that you're storing all these elements of the target array or maybe the input array in some sort of a data structure with their indices, right?
Map, yeah.
For the given target, that is the what he wants. Suppose he wants 3, so pick 3 it is there. So I stored 1 0 1 2 3 2 3 4 in the one of the array.
Okay.
And then 2 3 4 in the array I stored, vector I stored, and then I called the rand function, and then I took it modulo to the size of that indices vector. Then I returned the one of the indices from that index array.
Yeah.
So basically, it is a map of values to the indices where we can find those values. And when basically they want to pick a particular target number, we consult the map for the target number, and from the number we see what are the possible indices where we can find it, and in that array we'll basically randomly pick up any of those indices, any of the index. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that what I'm saying.
Okay.
That because it is also passing also very easily.
Yeah,
Say like don't pick any random like that function which you used. Can't we just return the first found the index? I think it should pass, right?
But if we that will be not ensure that if we are returning with equal probability, because in the question it is given that we have to return with equal probability, because suppose occurrences of 3 is suppose 100 times. So and it is the 3 is occurring as at 100 times. So for each index it should be probability should be equal, because if probability is not equal, then it will give wrong answer.
Yeah, so what he's trying to say is if you always pass 0 for 3, even if they are, what do you say, repeated 100 times. So every time you run that function, it will always return 0th position of that 3, right? So that won't be, yeah.
Okay. Like it every time I run this, so it should return some different index for that
Right.
target element. Okay.
And with equal probability also. And rand function, what it uses is the normal distribution. So normal
Right.
distribution ensures that it will return the indices with the equal probability every time.
Yeah,
Okay, okay,
that's the
got
clue.
it.
Looks like somehow your solution passed, but they clearly mention in the note.
Like I passed it, and it also is giving 85% also here.
Yeah, so that means there is something possible that without doing that.
Actually, people
In the
has
question, it is mentioned that like we don't use like too much extra space. So like, can it be done within that same array? Because here we used vector, right?
yes, people have done in the discuss section without the array also.
No, but you
Yeah,
have to
without
store
the-
that. No, you have to store that array somewhere, right?
No, actually, what they did in the discuss section, like what I am doing is that I want the indices dot size. That what they did, they kept the counter for that target if they are encountering in the array, what is the given array, and they are incrementing every time. So that and then they are getting answer and calling random every time, and the loop. So that is giving them the correct answer. What I observed.
Could you please repeat? Sorry, I missed
Like
you.
I watched this solution, this C++ solution. So what he did, he doesn't took any extra array. You can see here, like he doesn't took any extra array, like the constant space he took only. But if it is not equal to target, it is continuing. He is continuing, right? And if n is equal to 0, he is storing in some variable answer, that is the index of that particular
Number.
where it is finding the target, and then incrementing the number of occurrences of that. And then if number of occurrences is not 0, then he is calling random function every time and taking modulo of that from to n, so that it remains in the particular range of n.
Yeah.
And then he is updating that answer every
But
time.
is this not going to take more time, because you are actually almost traversing the whole array? If in worst case you might traverse the whole array, right?
In worst case, he must travel the
Yeah.
whole array. Yes.
But that's a trade, Santosh. So he's not using the extra space.
Yeah, but then he
And-
could have used binary search in this case, because it's an increasing
No,
order.
but you cannot, because it's not given that the numbers input are sorted.
Sorted, because we cannot use that.
Okay.
Fortunately, the example shows that, but it's not given.
I also did. I also found the lower bound and upper bound. Then I saw that it is not sorted.
And does this solution get accepted with good timings? Did you?
Yes, it's given 160 millisecond.
Wow.
96.441.
Yeah, that's very good number actually. Yeah.
Like he has written also there that the probability is he calculated here to replace the previous index.
So in spite of using an unordered map also, he's getting much better numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm getting 128 milliseconds, and he is getting 160 milliseconds.
How much are you getting, you said?
128.
128, yeah. You are also good.
But
Okay.
I'm using extra space. But he's not using extra space. He's doing in constant space.
But for timing, it should be okay. Even if you use extra space, the timings are not going to change, right?
No, it is not changing much.
It depends. No, even in your case, Ankur, you are actually enumerating the full array, right?
Yes. I'm iterating.
Yeah. So he's doing the same thing, though you are doing the extra work.
I'm doing extra work because I'm taking an extra array.
Oh, yeah. You are also almost doing the same thing. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm what I did, I'm calling the random function only once, and he may be calling he's calling in the loop. So it may be possible that he may call more number of times random function.
That is
No. He will do it. No,
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
rand function will be only called once because he's actually doing everything and then he's calling the rand function, right?
Yeah.
Why is to
No,
call more?
no, that is inside the loop.
Yeah,
Else
but he
Inside the
should
loop.
not. He should not. Actually, when he calls the rand function once, he just have to put that in the answer and return. Why he should be keep on calling more number of times?
Oh, you see that? I mean, it's part of else, right?
Yeah,
It
that
is
is
possible
true.
else in
It
the
looks like, but he could have done it that way.
No. It's
No,
pretty
how?
easy.
no.
Because you need that sample space first, right?
No.
So that's why he's
You can't do
counting
that.
that how many times that particular target um,
It's occurring.
found in the input.
Okay, so he's just okay. He could have done it before calling rand function.
But
You know,
where you
just
are
keep on incrementing a counter,
Huh.
and then when he is done with that, he knows that he has gone beyond the target. Then he can call a rand function, something like that.
outside the loop. Outside the loop.
Yeah, maybe outside the loop or yes,
No.
yeah.
Outside the loop will not work because that may return any index that will not that index we may not find the target. It is given in the pick.
But
That
are
will
you
not, that we can't.
Yeah.
yeah, but in the loop,
That
are
we
you
can't
not
do.
actually trying to find those two indexes? You know, the start and end of a target, right? That is what you're trying to do. Other than that, there's nothing different you're doing. You're just trying to find the two indexes, the starting position and the ending
Yes.
position of that duplicate target, right? So if you
But,
just go to the for loop and say, okay,
no.
I found everything.
Actually, what you are saying in that case, it should occur consecutively. If that number is not occurring consecutively, then you can't do that.
Okay. You have to still go all the way down. Okay, I got your point. So it's not going to be consecutive also.
It's not consecutive. It's not giving question also. It is consecutive.
But in that case, you know, I used a unordered map, okay, but still my timings are not good like you guys. You know, mine is 232 milliseconds. It's almost twice.
No, so what you are doing in your unordered map?
Well, first I store everything, okay, and then for the pick I just call it. In an unordered map, I just have to look for the target and then go for the target, find out how big my array is, the duplicate ones, and then just call rand function and return that index. So pick will be almost O of 1. Only when I'm constructing the solution, the constructor, that will take more time. But still, I'm getting 232 milliseconds, and these guys are getting half of the time.
Because actually, unordered map may give that thing, because unordered map is very unpredictable, because it uses an internal hash function that we don't know. So sometimes unordered map gives O1 access time, and sometimes it may not give O1 access time.
Yeah, that
it
is
depends
true,
on the hash function.
But whenever I use a STL function, I assume and believe that they are the most optimized versions I implemented, right? So all the libraries are well optimized, everything done properly, right? So that is my assumption, base assumption, and that I build my other solutions using them.
But what I studied in various blogs also, that it may also give may also cross expectations also sometimes.
Okay, yeah. Now it is true.
I mean, theoretically that's possible, Ankur, but you know that everything is these days based on that hashing.
Yeah.
So day by day, I mean, whatever Santosh is mentioning, I mean, we can trust that the STL one should be the one of the best.
Because in the interview, I would always comment this way and say, okay, this is actually looks good for me. Theoretically, it looks perfect because that is the will happen. But now, if I look at the timing wise, it looks this is the better option.
Yeah, this is a better option.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, Rajendra was trying to say something.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand that rand function here. So I understand that if n equals to 0, that means if we are seeing this value for the first time and the only time, then our answer will be that only. Okay, and if we are seeing it for again, then we are basically saying we have got we kept count of how many times we saw this thing, and it is doing this highlighted portion. I'm not able to understand that rand is what is the output of rand function?
Rand function generates any number, but if you take modulo n, then it will take this whole will give the number between 0 and n-1 only. As a whole, this expression will give the number from 0 to n-1 only, n-1 every time.
So Ryan, that's a rand is a library function which actually give you the random number.
But doesn't rand give actually a fractional number from 0
No.
to 0.999? No.
No. It generates integers.
Okay.
No,
okay.
that returns you in an integer range.
And
If that is the case, then C++ compiler will not run because double modulo is not defined in C++.
So that's language to language. So in C++, it returns the integer value.
Okay. So if that says that it is equally divisible by n, that means what it says. Suppose I am at the third instance of the target value. So and I'm trying to understand what magic it is doing. It is basically saying because this line is getting executed for any instance which we are seeing repeatedly. So for the first time, we already set it to answer and we went away. From starting from second instance, third instance, everywhere, we are basically saying, should I take this latest value or not? That's all we are basically saying here, right? Rand %9 %n equals to 0 is saying, should I take latest value or not?
That I understood from your point. So, but actually, what it is ensuring that if that you are saying that we can if we remove that, it will take only the latest one. It is actually taking the latest one.
I'm not saying that. I was trying to understand. I think I understood. So what it is saying is it is giving a fairness to all the possible matches. Basically, at every match, we are saying, should we take this or not? But
probability is saying, yes, you're right.
Yeah. So, but the way it is saying is a little, what should I say? Okay.
I think it could be for randomness you can if you just change it to 1 instead of 0. So does it make any difference here?
Let's give a try.
No, actually.
No, 1 will not pass actually. If we do it 1, it will not pass.
Not 1 will not pass. Yes, it's right. Because 0 ensures the equal probability.
Not equal probability. It is basically
how. Yeah.
No, that is a good question actually. Praveen, that is a good one. Let's try.
I'm with you, Rainder, that I'm still not able to digest that part. So why 0?
Yeah, but if you take 1, you are actually specifying single what do you say, occurrences.
No.
Not single.
That's not the thing.
Any.
So if you have only one element, not duplicate one, then this won't work. Yeah, right.
No, if there are no duplicates, anyway, we are returning from line number 12. So this thing is not related to, this is only happened. Okay. Yeah. Did we run it?
It should be Z.
Good answer.
I think it should work. It doesn't mean it's just the probability they are deciding.
Yeah, any number should be, looks to me.
Correct. So all we are basically doing is we are giving a equal chance to the new one that just now was found, and we are basically saying, okay, we are improving our return value. We already started from the one that we saw very first time at line number 12. Now we have hit the second time. Should we pick you or not? Okay. Then third time, should we pick you or not?
So but we are running the rand always.
Yes, we are running, but though it looks like that. Somehow it's passing on the lead code, but not the correct solution.
Why we should run it always? You should be.
I think there is a fundamental difference between what we discussed. There are two approaches basically. One is in the map approach, we already know our array is having all the targets, and we basically call once the rand once, and we are banking on the randomness of the rand function to say, okay, this thing is one, we got index number 1 or index 0 or index whatever, and we just report that. But here what we are saying is, we know at every possible match we are saying, should we PQ or not, should we PQ or not, should we PQ or not. This is the only difference.
But in that
yes,
case,
yes.
it might so happen that the previous ones won't pick up, right? It will be only the later ones will be given more fair chance, right?
No, I mean, no, each one is getting only one chance, right? First, line number 12 is unconditional. This is the first time we saw it. We didn't even ask it. Then every other one we are saying, should we PQ or not? Only once.
Yeah, and actually one thing about the rand is you need to seed it with something before you run a rand function, because if you
one unique thing what I saw, like I use the array, right? And it is using memory 36.3 MB. And same, this also is using 36.5 MB. So I think that random function override is using this space, I think.
No, random function is just a function. It will not take the space.
Yeah.
But I don't know why it is.
This is interesting though. Yeah, good one.
Okay.
That's a good one. Somehow magically it's working, but I'm not convinced with the solution.
No, actually, right. What Rajendra explained is correct, right? So he's just saying that we keep on running it every time. But I was only concerned about
that is fine. What I'm saying here, that I mean, the expectation from that is equal probability, right? But that does not actually. I don't see that. I mean, all the index has the equal probability here.
Why not? We are basically, the equality here is basically, we are asking everyone once, should we PQ or not? So that is the equality here. And we are thinking that is a fair chance of 50%. No. Oh, I see. I see what it is.
Because
Like a mysterious one. Like
no, rand function internally does that, but you have to seed the rand function at the beginning of your solution. If you do that, then you are
then
actually
it will give
wrong
answer.
No, it won't give a wrong answer, but it will give
no, I did in that my thing.
Don't do
solution.
it here. No. You don't have to do it here. What you have to do it, you have to do it in the solution constructor.
Just here?
Yeah, you have to do it here.
Mm-hmm.
Do srand time, yeah. Srand time 0, yeah. So then actually it will be perfect. So it is still going to work. So now you are going to give them a proper probability and everything. Yeah, if you run it once again, you will get a good number because it will be cached by that time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
But actually, what internally rand function is doing, it is very mysterious only. How it generates that number.
No, actually, yeah. Okay, let's not go in the details, I would say. Let's move to our next solution now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shashank wants to share his code.
Yeah, it's the same, like only see what here they are doing. If you are going through this array, and suppose first time if you see 3, so what we are doing, we'll try to generate the number from 0 to the number of times I've seen this 3. So it's a 0 time I've seen, so between 0 to 0 I'll generate that number. Now when you reach these 3, you have seen 2 3s, right? So from 0 to 2 you generate any number. Pardon? So from 0 to 2 you generate the random number, and that will give you the probability of what is the probability of picking that index. So when you reach 3, you just generate the random number from here to the entire 3 you have seen. So 0 to 3 any random number will be generated, and according to that index will be picked. So this is what they are doing. So for target 3 and it is at index 2, so 0 to 0, so probability is 100%. With probability 1 they are picking. When they are hitting this, so they are generating random number from 0 to 1. So it will be 1 by 2, 50% this, 50% this. And when you are at 3, it will be 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3. So this is what they are doing. The probability is 1 by 3. So what in the code they are doing is like, is the same thing. Here, as and when you find the target, like first time I found the target, it will increase by 1, second time 2, 3. So to that target, you generate that random number and just return whatever chance you get. If your chance is 0, that means you haven't seen, it's the first time you have seen everything. So it will return this as the, like, whatever.
Okay. So it is the same thing what we just now discussed. It's almost a similar approach, but only you are using a map also for your.
No map.
No map.
In this, no map.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The same approach you are trying to. Okay.
Yeah, exactly same.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Then we can switch to next.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So this is like we are given a linked list, and we have to reverse the node of a linked list k at a time and return its modified list. So this is a list given to us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and k equal to 2. So first 2 elements are reversed and k equal to 2, sorry, 0, 1, 2. So
1, 2 reverse.
Yeah, 1, 2 got reversed. And why this 4,
then
3?
4, 3 also, because the second
also, no?
Oh, group of 2. Yeah, 4, 3 is got reversed, but here you have only, you are left with that. So for 3 they are choosing 3, 2, 1. This they are reversing, and here you will it is less than 3. All the count of elements, so it is left as it is, and only constant extra memory is allowed, and you may not alter the values in the list nodes. Yeah.
Actually, I have approach for this. Can I share? Like, easy approach.
So, are there any constraints we need to be worried about here, or anything?
Constraints are that we cannot use extra memory here, and we cannot change the, we cannot alter the list. Like we cannot change the, like we cannot get extra memory in any case.
And we should not change the values of the least nodes, right?
Yes, also that also.
But we can manipulate the nodes,
Pointers.
Yeah, the pointers of the nodes, right? So that is the only thing. So you are going to modify the input in this case, correct? Or you are allowed to?
Value. We can play with pointers, right?
Yeah, but that is what the input is still going to get modified. We are not cloning it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Cloning will take extra space.
Yeah. So we don't have to do that. Yeah.
And it will be easy if we have to clone, right?
But we cannot take cloning here.
Yeah. But that will be an extra implementation, because first of all, it's a linked list. You have to do so much of things, even if it is a straightforward solution, but you have to take so much of things into consideration, and trying to implement that in a small time span with so much of stress.
Yeah,
so you might do something wrong, but yeah. Okay, so what is your approach, Ankur?
Basically, what I'm doing is that because we know that we have to divide in the k group. So first I found the length of the linked list. Then I divided it by the k. That means that groups only, that number of groups only I can make in the, that I can reverse in the linked list, because that number of groups I can divide, because by k only should be there now, right? I'm getting clear.
Multiple of k.
So I divided by k. So I found the number of groups that I can find in the of k size in the given linked list, right?
Okay, so you are saying, like, for the example 1, you have 5 nodes, right? So you divide that by 2, so you get 2, correct?
It is given 3 there, right? I think. 2.
Okay, and then when you get that 2, what are you going to do?
What I will do, like I can show solution now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. But okay, go ahead.
Maybe better you can start with a draw board, if you can show the sketch.
Okay. What do you use that Shashank's sketchboard, na?
Yeah, but actually, are you sharing something? Because I'm just. getting
Sketchpad.
that yeah, C++ binary search, or is there something to do with my Zoom?
Okay. Sorry. Not is giving.
Oh yeah.
Sketchpad. Oh, you are doing this.
Oh
Okay.
no, he said, Rajendra said, can you actually explain on the drawing board, you know?
Okay, I'm saying.
So overall, there are two things we are doing actually, right? One is we know if we take a dummy head, if we start pushing nodes just next to the dummy head, we are effectively reversing the linked list. And because this is only in the groups of K, so we will have to do insert at the end of the dummy node for K times, then go and go ahead for K number of times and start pushing there, something like that.
Like what I'm not doing using any dummy node, like dummy head. What I'm doing is that, like suppose that here it is a 5 length, right? Like I took one parameter len equal to 5.
I don't see what you're showing.
Okay.
I mean, are you drawing somewhere? I don't see it.
Okay. Sorry. So here it is the linked list, 5 length, right? And K is given as 2.
Okay.
So number of groups possible is equals to 5 divided by 2.
Correct. That is 2.
So that means these 2 groups I found in this current length, right?
Correct.
So what I am doing is that I am taking what I'm doing, like I am taking one pointer, that is start, st, and end. So every time what I am doing is that up to this, for first group, st equal to 0 and en will be equal to k, right?
I don't know.
Like index, I'm talking about index, like because I have to reverse it with up to 0, 1, up to 2. That up to this point I have to reverse.
So if you are talking per index, then your en should be k minus 1, right?
But I'm to k minus 1. Suppose, sorry, to k minus 1.
No. I'm just asking. I'm not saying it should be.
Actually, I am doing it at up to st to up to n. Like I took 2 pointers and up to the first group I'm reversing. After reversing this group, then I'm incrementing against the st by k. Then st will come here, and en will come here.
Okay.
Then again for this st to en, I'm reversing it.
So en will always be k because you are moving to the next one, not the last index.
No, en will be also incremented because every time I'm incrementing that, every time en minus st will be equal to k, and after every reversal I'm incrementing with k. That suppose I reverse this, then st will be incremented by k, and en will be also incremented by k. Then I will reverse this portion.
Okay. Yeah.
And that loop will work this number of times because I have found this number of groups. Like
and
because
what do you do for the last one when you actually don't have to do any reversing there?
What? Sorry, what you're saying?
Now in the last one, when you have just the node 5.
I don't need to do that. Like after first iteration, the linked list will be like this.
Okay, Rajendra.
Then after second iteration, the linked list will be same as the given answer.
Okay, so you're always saying you're going to take st and en, and st will always be 0 and en will be k because you want
initially.
Initially. But then when you come to the next, when you come to first 1 and 2, when you are done with the reversing, okay. So then in that reversing, you are going to take care of st and en. They will be reversed also, right? So then you'll have to.
After that, since these are reversed, so I'm done with this group. So I'm now concerned with the other group. Then I will increment this st to k step ahead. and I will increase en to k step ahead,
Okay.
and again I will reverse that group.
No problem. Yeah, but only I was wondering, like when you reverse it, your head pointer also changes, right? So
No,
and
for that what I am doing is that, like suppose I am at this index, suppose I have to reverse this portion, right? So what I am doing is that I am cutting down these links.
Okay.
And then I'm independently, this links has been independent. So this big question becomes that reverse the linked list.
Okay.
Then I store this pointers in some in two variables, and then again I restore their position after reversing them.
Okay.
Now it is clear.
Yeah, it is clear. Yeah.
Like I can show solution on also.
It's clear to me, but I'm no one is responding, so it might be clear to them. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Like what I am doing is that for same thing. Like first I am finding the length of the given ring list. Then I found the number of groups that is in the H. Then I took 2 pointers. That is, sorry, I stored the 0. That should be a 1. That I taking it as 1. 1 up to k. 1 up to k. Then I know that these are the number of groups I want to reverse. So I am taking that's a for loop, and then I made one function reverse between that it is showing that up to 1 to k I am reversing the linked list. And again after that, for second group, I will increase the st pointer to k and en pointer to k. Then in reverse between function, what I am doing is that like first I took 2 pointers, previous and start. Previous, what it will do, like I showed there that I want to get the previous link. Like I want to get the previous link, so that I can cut that link and then reverse the independent link list. Am I clear?
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is that previous will always be one step behind the start. Like previous equal to start, and then start equal to start dot next I plus plus. So it for sure it will be one step behind the start. Okay. And then what I took that one ES pointer, like for the end position, because I want to put the location of that pointer also, because I want to restore the my linked list also after reversing the independent linked list, independent group, what I selected now.
So
right.
Okay.
What are you saying? So
No, go ahead.
Then I stored the next, that is the next pointer, that is the that is the one step ahead of the last node of that group. Suppose I am reversing that in the first example, that is the 1, 2, 3, 4. So what next will store? The 5. It will store the 5. And what pre will store? It will store the 2. Right? And and I've broken the link here. I'm breaking the link here if it is not null. So this will break this link 2 to 3. Okay. And then ES next null it is breaking the link here after 4. Now it has become the independent linked list. Then what I am doing, it is simply the question has now become that reverse the linked list, and that I am doing with the help of recursion. Like reverse the linked list with the help of recursion simply.
Yeah, that function is for reversing the linked list.
Yes, it is a simple reversal linked list.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
Then what I'm doing is then again I'm storing because H was the starting of my that group. Then I stored that again the pointers, that 2 will go to 4. I'm denoting here like in this integration. Sorry, after one point next pointer will go to 4, and then 3 next pointer will go to 5, because it has been now reversed.
Okay.
Then it is since void it will be I pass it by reference, and so it will change automatically that linked list.
Yeah, Ankur, yeah, that is okay, but don't you think you have written so much of code for
Exactly.
implementation, and actually when you go in an interview and show so much of code, there might be some things which you might miss. So I'll just
That
look
may be
into that.
possible,
It's a
like
very huge code
pointers.
what you have written. There might be some slight optimized way of writing, because this might be perfectly working, but if you look for the interview perspective, we need to be very sure what you are writing, and it should be very perfect, right?
Minimal, yeah, minimal.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, but this is good. Yeah.
Explicitly, he has, I mean, written
Yeah, he
every
has done
step.
it. Yeah, every step. But because I think usually we should follow some standard templates, so it's very easy to remember.
To remember, yeah.
Yeah, here at least everyone knows what the concepts are, but things when we have very time constraints, so we need to have something which is very standard way of doing that, right? I didn't find anything standard for these such problems, but though anyone.
Using recursion, I saw it like bit.
Okay. Yeah, no
more
problem. Yeah, Ankur, thank you. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
It's like this is just I'm using the recursion. See, this function is actually for normal reversing the linked list. Okay, this bottom one from 20 to 27 is for just reversing. I mean, if I give you a chunk, how do you reverse that chunk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that will take care of reversing, and just I mean, if your k is less than 2, just to return the, I mean, you have only one element, so you just return back from there itself. Otherwise, this is a temporary node that I'm giving to head, and I'm going through, let's say if k equal to 3 they have given. So I'm going from, I have to make the node to the 3, right? I mean, initially I'll be here, then again node is equal to node next, I'll go here, then again node is equal to node next, I'll go here. So my pointer will be here. Once I reach my pointer here, I'll just pass it in a function. If I'll further pass it for doing it for the rest, like what do you say, for the rest of the things. And here 3 is not there, so it will hit that there is no node, then from there it will just return the head, right? See, this part you got, right?
Yeah, I got that.
And
Yeah.
dry run, can you show, please?
See what I'm saying, let's say k equal to 3, that means 3 chunk you have to make and then split. So you'll start from here, first you will go to 2, then you'll go to 3. So once you reach 3, so and this will be passed in this is just normal reversing a linked list. I mean, how you reverse a linked list is given, how do you reverse it?
Like,
Now
I'm
next time
concerned with the pointer of 3 to 4. I'm concerned with the pointer, like how you are making that dealing with that pointer 3 to 4 pointer.
Yeah, so what this previous will do, it will reverse the entire linked list, and previous pointer will keep one as a, like, it will keep that previously the address of this, so that next time it can append 1 to the 4. But now what it will do, next time again it will start from 1 to 3. But since 1 to 3 is not there, if here you will not get any 3, then it will return from here, it's a head only, it will return here, right? So head will append to, you can append head directly to the 4, and so 3 to 1 4 5 it will be appended. I can see. So it's like it's like 1 2 3 4 5, right? I'm taking k equal to 3, so I'll get this I mean, I'll start that for loop. What it will do, it will initially, I'll start from head and I'll make my pointer till here, and I'll pass this, and it will reverse it. By reversing, I'll have a previous pointer which will be pointing to this one. That means 3 2 1, and here you'll have your previous pointer. And to the recursion function, again I'll pass starting from here, like 1 to 3 it will go. So from 1 it will go to here, but 3 here it is null. Once it finds null, it will directly return this one, head, and just append head to this. So 3 2 1 4 5. Am I clear or?
That where he made the 3 to 4 pointer null.
So actually the, okay, go ahead, yeah, sorry.
This, if it finds that there is no node, it will return the head from here.
Okay.
So if it doesn't satisfy the entire, what you say, length, it will just return the starting point of where it was, like of that particular chunk. Because you can't reverse 4 and 5 because it is of length 2 only, right?
Yeah.
And
So,
this is
but
just
your line
how
21 will be called many times. So you will be at the very end and then you reverse those last chunk of that K, right? First.
yeah.
That is
it
what
will
you
it will return this reverse to this. I mean, it will return previous to this function.
Okay.
Amazing use recursion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I went through the solution. I saw that. That's why I think
Yeah, it's yeah, because such problems are very tricky to, you know, what you say, remember it, and because it can be implemented. If you go and in an interview, it might be fine. You will be able to implement that, but it again, some minor issue, and then you'll be stuck, or maybe you'll not pass all the test cases, right? So you have to be
Maybe
very
a null pointer.
yeah. So I was trying to find some standard way of implementing it. But yeah, this is also good. And what Ankur also came was, even though it was lengthy, but if you go through each and every line,
it is
it must be
explained.
fine, right? Yeah, I
I mean,
think.
iterative with less number of codes, anyone, or a recursive only might like.
Yeah, no, that's the both. You showed the recursive way and he showed the iterative way, right? So we covered both cases actually. That's not a question. Yeah, but I was trying to see if we can get some, because linked list problems are always very lengthy, you know, to implement, and you have to take care of all the conditions and all the corner cases very carefully. You need to implement it.
Yeah, none type and all those things occur, like we are hitting a null pointer.
Yeah. No problem. So I think it's almost, we are over time.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Stop the recording.